and Lindsay Foreman were arrested in Kerman for allegedly gathering intelligence for hostile nations. In Colombia's Chaco department, the National Liberation Army has initiated a 3-day armed strike. This action has led to business closures and halted public transportation, confining residents to their homes. Kyle Norris reports.
The ELN claims the strike is a response to alleged alliances between state forces and paramilitary groups.
Villagers in southern Lebanon are returning home as Israeli forces withdraw from key border areas under a U.S. brokered ceasefire. Despite the pullout, Israel maintains control over 5 strategic positions. The acting head of the Social Security Administration, Michelle King, has resigned following a dispute over data access. King refused to grant the Department of Government Efficiency access to sensitive recipient information.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Get coffee here. Can we get some coffee here, please? Will you go to lunch? Will you go to lunch? Will you? Will you go to lunch? Uh-oh.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Will you go to lunch?
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Will he go to lunch?
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Looking at white.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
You know, laughing is all practice to me anyway. But you don't make me laugh. I'm not gonna make you laugh. Oh, was that? That was a tip, or was that my brain? What's going on over there? Good morning, you. Thursday, right? Is it going to start? Oh, look at you.
Wake up.
That? I was just testing it out. This don't be little loop thing. Anyway, good morning. It's Thursday, February 20th, 2025. How you doing out there? It's not too bad. I mean, winter's almost over, right? So there you go. All right. Have a good day. That was the show for you today. Actually, we have two guests lined up today. Dominic Miserandino. That's a tough thing for me to say. Why is that so hard for me? Miserandino, who is a retail entrepreneur, is going to talk to us about tariffs, Trump's tariffs. And I since he's from Brooklyn and Long Island, and he hides his politics pretty well. I've seen some of his interviews. Hides his politics pretty well. But I have a feeling because he's from here, he's going to try to spin the tariffs as a good thing, because with a Republican angle. I just have a feeling. Now, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I don't really want to be gaslit about how tariffs are a good thing. But we'll see when he gets here. And then the second hour, we have Mike Cateo, who is one of the people from Slaptail Nation, not the founder. I'm not sure he's the guy who is posting on social media, because Slaptail is 4 different guys, right? 4 Slaptail squads, Slaptail Nation, but the posts are written in first person I. I don't know if Mike Cateo is the first person. I don't think he is. I think that Braver Man or I don't know. We'll find out. Won't we find out? We'll find out together. So yeah, that's what the world's coming to an end. I'm just going by day by day, just trying to get along here. Good news for Steven. Steven's getting some interesting guests signing up for Beyond Classified. It's a good thing. Who's getting booted off today? That's a Ian comment. Probably me. I'll get booted off today. You know what? If you're just joining us and missed earlier in the week, Ron Kane is no longer on the program. Booted, not booted. Yeah, he was asked to leave. That request came from his wife. Well, it didn't come from his wife. The Odd Couple thing. Listen, it's not like I don't even want to address it again. We wish Ron well. I don't think he's coming back because in order to come back, you'd have to give assurances that he wouldn't do what he did, and that would require acknowledging that what he did was not right. And I don't think he has that muscle, that acknowledging what he did was not right muscle. Anyway, so I don't think he'll be back. So yeah, I guess booted is fair. Fine. Call it booted. Bastard. You're booted. Ian's booted. No, he's already been booted by accident twice. And he's never even been on the program. So coming back to Slaptail. We've had Slaptail in the chat room, but I don't know which one of the four guys is Slaptail from the chat room. But today, Mike Cateo, who is one of those four guys, will be on the program. Does that make sense at all? Last night, I had a healer on the program, and she told me, and I'm not making this up, she told me to eat burgers, to drink whiskey and coffee, and smoke more weed. I think I love her. I'm definitely signing up for that program. That's the health program I want to be on. Eat burgers, drink whiskey and coffee, and smoke more weed. Rinse and repeat. I didn't ask about cheese on my burger, how much, but I'm going to start practicing today. We're going to run through a spring training of somebody just said, I think John Bivens. No, John Bivens. Who said that? One of these guys in the back. They did no. Mr. John is not Slaptail. You got it wrong. Slap your own tail for that. I'm gonna play a commercial and we'll come back. I don't even have a good commercial to play for you right now. Well, I can't.
CuriosityBox.com offers a unique value proposition by delivering hands-on science experiments right to your doorstep. Each box is packed with engaging activities that spark creativity and critical thinking, making learning fun for all ages. Imagine exploring the wonders of chemistry or physics through interactive projects that you can do at home. Plus, it's not just about the experiments. Each box includes educational resources that deepen your understanding of concepts. Curiosity Box transforms curiosity into knowledge, making science accessible and exciting, one box at a time.
One box at a time. Speaking of one box at a time, in the box next to me there, we have Stephen, the boxer Ortiz. We like to call him Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier! And now in the box, wait, you're moving around. Now in the box up above me, the Muhammad Ali of Joe Frazierness, D.D. Fenderson.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you experiencing buyer's remorse after voting for Trump? How the fuck do you think I feel? I'm sorry. Did I said, do you think? It's obvious you didn't. Send your apology letters to MindDogTV.com. We'll use them to make toilet paper and sell them later. MindDogTV.com. Support your local merchandise and enjoy the suffering.
I think you'll be stocking up on that toilet paper during the next whatever kind of crisis or emergency retail panic that comes our way.
Mm-hmm.
Now somebody's saying yes. John Bivens is John Beavers. I thought you said Bivens.
No,
I didn't
Beavers.
say anything. I didn't say anything. I typed Beavers.
Well, fine.
Okay, and I can't help it. I can't help it if you just can't read. I can't babysit you and hold your hand through every fucking syllable I put on the paper.
It's because Matt is 17 feet from his monitor.
I thought he was only 4 feet from the monitor. No, he's 4 feet from the camera.
4 feet
He's
from
4
the
feet
camera.
from the camera. And I thought the monitor was a little bit closer because he knew he couldn't see 4 feet away.
Yeah.
No, the camera is on top of the monitor, and it is at least 4 feet, probably closer to 5 feet from me.
My issue is I can't get a whole lot further because
That's
my
not
mic
the excuse,
stand won't.
though. The excuse is I'm lazy and I read really. I see John B. That's close enough, and I didn't even realize Beaver Man is John Beavers because on the website they call him Beaver Man or Braver Man. What is
Beav Man?
Hold on, John Beaverman. Yeah, not John Beavers.
It's John Beavers.
It is.
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you guys know this and I don't know this? Well, that's not who filled out the form.
Because I know him in person. I've done his show or his open mic.
So, now is a beaver included in the spectrum? Otters, bears, beavers. Is that in the
slappity?
I feel like there should be a beaver category because here's the thing: they're hairy.
Beavers are the
like otters.
Yeah,
beavers. We all know what a beaver is, okay? In sex terms, it's a woman's vagina.
Oh,
so
that's true.
It would not be part of the male gay.
Wow, Matt,
hierarchy.
why did you and I go right to gay dudes? We are so gay.
No, because we have the bears and otters, which I'm still a little confused by. We talked
but
about
beaver's already been established through.
No, the beaver as a part of a woman, but it's not you wouldn't say a woman is a beaver. She's not the beaver.
Have you seen her teeth?
Archetype. I have not.
Depends on her teeth and tail.
Now, is it called a beaver because they can be hairy?
Wait a minute. Are you referring to the vagina dentata? Is that what you're referring to?
The what?
A bony structure inside the vagina that looks like teeth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Really.
And feels like teeth.
Pussy teeth. Doesn't that scare you now? You never get out of it again.
Horrifying. I don't like that at all.
Before you stick your tongue in there, you do this and put your eye like that, and you look for teeth.
You're worried about the tongue? I'd be worried about sticking something else in there.
So before you put your tongue in there, just go.
Oh my God! I just realized they called a vagina a beaver because it eats wood.
Oh my goodness! Oh, wow.
Because they build dams. They build dams.
Yeah.
Well, I've had some make me go damn, but I don't know about. Yeah. Anyway, back to you, man.
I'm wondering now. We're a minute and a half from when Dominic is supposed to be here. He's an East Coast guy. He's a Long Island guy. It can't be a time zone thing.
So why not call them woodchucks then instead of beavers?
Woodchuck.
Termites. Why not call them termites?
Why not call them
termites? Or wood-boring bees.
I'm scared of bugs. I'm scared of bugs.
Oh, he's here now. I was just gonna go look for Molly and say, Molly, what's happening with Dominic?
Oh, I thought you meant you were gonna go pop a Molly.
No. Well,
another one.
Wait. They come in units like one Molly. I just thought the thing was called Molly, and people. I don't know.
Pop a Molly, sweat it out.
Molly.
Yeah, pop a Molly, sweat it out.
I did not know this. Yeah, I'm old.
What if you don't know how to sweat? Then what happens? Because not everybody sweats. There's a condition where you don't sweat.
There's a condition for everything, though.
These were the kind of questions I was hoping you guys would ask from the chat room.
It didn't matter. I put a question in and you ignored it. You ignored my question, skipped right over it.
No, because you were asking about UFO stuff.
No, that's not what I asked.
I did. That was me.
Steven asked that. Steven put like 6 requests about UFO stuff, and I had one serious question.
What was the serious question?
Are you going to put me off the show if I can't quote it correctly? Do I need to? Because I don't. because I didn't save it in my phone. I put it in the chat.
We're not going to stop the show so you can go pull it up, okay? Can we just move on to the guest?
Did you hear the medical advice?
Well, I can give you a rough estimate of what I wrote. Would that be good enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll
rough estimate is.
You know what? We have a full day today. We got to get to Dominic.
Okay. Okay.
Well, did you hear the advice she gave me?
I did. I loved it.
But
you're
taking it to the extreme. I'm pretty sure that she means in moderation, because she did give a warning about too much whiskey.
All right, I could do it in moderation. Listen, the burgers first, the whiskey second.
And I don't know if she said what kind of burgers, because if you've ever been to a burger shop, you have your all beef, you have your half beef and half pork, you have your beef lamb pork burgers, you have your turkey burgers, ostrich burgers, crocodile burgers, chicken burgers. So what kind of burger is she talking about? Veggie burger, bean burger.
Wow, that's a Flip Wilson thing you just wrote there, and Flip didn't even know.
She never answered my question if aliens like whiskey or not. But she did blink twice when I said blink twice if aliens are real, and she did blink twice.
All right. By the way, Steven's got the head of MUFON, one of the chief investigator for MUFON on a couple of weeks.
I'm so excited for that. You have no idea.
Yeah. All right. Dominic Mizandrino. Why is that hard for me to say? I don't know.
You're from that area.
From Long Island. I should be able to say, and from Brooklyn, I should be able to say that.
And I have a UFO question for Stephen, but I guess I'll wait till Monday to ask that, since I can't get any. And I'll write it down and save it.
He's trying to introduce the guest.
And I'll write it and I'll save it so that when you ask me, what did you write, I can say what I wrote.
All right. Dominic Mizandrino, did I say it better that time? Is the CEO of RetailWire.com and the CCO of Retail AI Council. He is both the CEO of, I just said that, RetailWire.com, as well as an online media expert for 30 years. He helps run a social media network, YouNow. I think I'm part of that, and has been in the online space for 30 years. I don't know Dominic, but I feel like I know him. I've seen his media interviews. It's like, this is a guy, I can tell you right now, I'm going to bring him in right now, but I just want to say, I'm going to predict that when he went to college, he drove an IROC and had a pepper, or a pepper hanging from the retail window. Anyway, say good morning to Dominic Mizandrino. Good morning, Dominic.
The IROC intro really was the icing on the cake right there. No, I didn't have an IROC at all. I sadly had a Dodge Omni that honked on every single turn, which made it very inconvenient.
Wow, these guys didn't even get the reference. They don't even know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about at all.
You know what an IROC is, but do you know that Long Island Italian guys are pretty much known for driving the white IROC with the red pepper hanging from the...
I've seen it.
That's a thing?
I've seen it many a time, but no, my Dodge Omni was broken, and I literally had it honk. So whenever I made a turn, and everyone saw me, which made it more embarrassing at the time.
Wow. You seem now, personality-wise, I've watched a few of your media interviews. You seem like most of the CEOs I know on Long Island. I mean, if you learn Long Island business, you know Long Island business. There's a guy like you in every single business on Long Island.
I appreciate that and feel hurt at the same exact moment.
I don't even know how to feel about that. It almost sounds like it sounds like he was giving you a compliment and slapping you at the same time.
It's just an observation. You can take it however you want to take it. I'm fine.
I'll take it as hopefully as a compliment, but secretly I'm cautious now.
It's sort of a compliment in being, and I mean this sincerely. It's a kind of seriousness and straightforwardness in being able to handle things that a guy like me could never acquire, because I'm just too much of a...
I think so far I've handled you. So far I'm a minute and a half in and I'm alive. You know?
There you go. The reason I wanted to have you on here today is to talk about the expected tariffs and how they might affect our economy. Now, and I'm not like an economic student, but from my understanding is tariffs have never worked out on a broad scale. I mean, in a limited scale for one market maybe, but on a broad scale, they generally don't have a good effect.
No, we had this whole thing about tea in Boston a few hundred years ago. We as a country never liked them. They are useful, specific, like we don't want our citizens buying this one chemical from this one country, and we really need to build it here. So we're trying to deter people from buying it over there because it's a horrible regime. Generally, that kind of thing works. But in broad strokes, we're an intertwined country. I mean, I'm holding the AirPod on my desk. 40 plus countries are involved in the manufacturing of most iPhone devices. And you're going to just take all those 40 and say, stop. And then say, what happened? Where'd my iPhone go? That's not going to bode well. And no American generally enjoys such things.
Right. Now, I haven't heard you express a political opinion here, and I'm not going to try to force you to, but
I'm pretty good at avoiding many things.
All right,
and my wife, I avoid most of those kind of conversations that get me in trouble too.
Okay, and you're not a psychiatrist, but so this is a kind of a loaded question, but there's no other way to. Since everybody seems to agree on this, that just throwing tariffs like willy-nilly at everything is probably a bad idea. Why do you think Trump is so committed to it? And before you answer that, I'm just going to say, it seems to me once he says something, he can't back off it. Like he's made a commitment to a hurricane going this way. He's going to draw the hurricane going that way.
I will double down on your question and make your question even worse, because it's not just the tariffs. It's the psychological effect of the tariffs that, in my opinion, can even be worse. Right now, and I love pointing to the example, Kentucky, Heartland, makes bourbon. And Kentucky bourbon's number one market is Canada.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, Canada ripped the bourbon off the shelves. And I feel like the average American has to just consider the logistics. That once you ripped it off the shelves, you now have to get the entire Canadian public to say, oopsies on that. And then some dude in a Canada shop has to be given the bottles again one day and say, put it back on the shelves. That is not a 24-hour process.
Right.
Well, if I could just piggyback onto that, because assuming that doesn't happen overnight, okay, and assuming that the people who buy assuming that people who buy bourbon are going to find another bourbon, because they're not going to just stop drinking bourbon overnight. So they're going to say, okay, there's no more Kentucky bourbon. I'll buy, Mexican bourbon or Canadian bourbon, something, anything else. Because
I even saw a press release, which I was curious about. Like there was there's all these other ones. There's like Mexico's making, every other country is now saying, awesome, I'll make my bourbon. Have a nice day.
And so the Canadians switch to another brand, and people are, for the most part, brand loyal.
Yes.
So once they switch to another brand that they like, chances of them going back.
That is 100% it. So exactly to add to your question there, why would you implement the tariffs? And then why would you? So that has its effect. But, perfect example to speak to all this is the Boston Tea Party. We drink coffee as Americans. I'm drinking coffee right now. We do not drink tea. People, when you screw with their wallet, they remember, and you're giving GD, you're giving an example of loyalty. 200 years the average American starts with coffee.
Right.
We hold a grudge,
right.
And everyone does when it comes to your wallet. So it's understanding that mindset. I think you have the two problems, and I'm personally more concerned about the secondary, the grudge factor that GD brought up. And I love looking at that example of Tea Party 200+ years later. I think you're going to see that effect for generations of Canadians not buying that Kentucky bourbon, having done the switch in the Kentucky market. Now, there's also, by the way, a third factor, which I feel is never being discussed. Now the Kentucky bourbon sales go down, not because of the tariffs, because of the whole, GD's assessment correctly of, I hate this. And they're probably buying their bottles locally from local sand. Not many people are importing bottles, but they're going to buy less bottles. So there's a guy in Kentucky, I don't know who he is, I'd love to know him, who's making these bottles. I presume he's going to produce 1% less bottles than he did last year because the bourbon guy is making less bourbon. And that's where I think we're not realizing the interconnectedness of this economy. That even just a tweet from the president of the United States can cause Kentucky bourbon to drop. And I'm using this as an example. There's much more than just bourbon. There's Canada makes lumber, and there's guys making furniture in North Carolina. I've even read articles, people in the South buying Canadian lumber, bringing it down. Or I enjoy the Mexican president going back and forth on the Gulf of Mexico situation, and the lines in Cancun are magically getting longer. We don't know why. I've heard things of people politically being pulled over. So it's like there are effects to stuff.
Right.
Now, I know that
the part they have to look at. I'm sorry, GD.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. We also have the history of when Trump was in office the first time. He put a tariff on Chinese goods, and our farmers. I think it may have been still, but our farmer agreed. I can't remember, but our farmers started to suffer greatly. So Trump gave them all subsidies to offset it, and the subsidies was actually more than the amount of money that he claims he got from the tariffs, almost by tenfold.
And I love your pointing to that. We have that primary example, meaning here's something you did, and there's a resultant, of course, from that. But I also love when you look at these secondary examples. Alaska has more federal workers per capita than any other state. And I remember
Virginia. Oh, you said per capita.
Yeah, per capita.
Yeah,
Virginia has a ton. But more, I use Alaska because where are you going for a job if you're in Alaska? You're not driving down the block to New Jersey. You're not driving across the street to Pennsylvania. Right. You're in that state and you got one job. And I think all of these things have a secondary effect. And we are always this is the problem. I wouldn't even say as Americans. As humans, we only look at the first effect.
Well, that's why
sit and analyze and wonder what else is going on.
Well, that's why certain Republican senators and Congress people are asking for carve-outs, because publicly they won't say it, but privately they know about the secondary issues, but they don't want to go public and say, Trump, you're fucking things up for everybody. So instead of saying that, they'll say, look, we're with you, but can you give us a carve-out in Alaska so that our federal employees don't get fucked over? Trump, can you give us a carve-out in North Carolina? Can you give us a carve-out? The governor of North Carolina is a Democrat. In Florida, can you give us a carve-out in Florida? Can you give, actually, not just the governors, though. Some of them are just Congress people that are asking for carve-outs because their districts may be hurt by a military base that's in their district. And they cut out the VA services.
If I may take the wheel back from GD, who likes to hijack and grab my steering wheel and divert me over to the.
Hey, don't blame me. I just showed up to this party, man.
No, yeah. The question, because this has been a conspiracy theory of sorts that is.
I want to hear a conspiracy theory.
Well,
I'm ready.
It's not like it's hard. It hasn't been all that defined yet. But
I'm ready.
The people, the left wing pundits I've listened to, floating this idea that this is an intended chaos to destroy the administrative state and replace it with, coming back to like CEOs, a CEO dictator running the country like a business. The Peter Thiels, the Elon Musk, and Donald Trump is on board with all. This is the idea they're floating, is intended to destroy the administrative state the way it is and replace it with the CEO model for America.
I think what you're saying, the conspiracy end of it. First of all, I never loved conspiracy theories because no one wins in those. They're always
right.
You look like they have tinfoil hats. Yeah. I do think there is an interesting genius that when you speak out loud to all these issues, we're talking about them. We're talking about the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. We're talking about so many issues. It reminds me, there's a trick on the TV when you're doing media training. You learn to talk like this in one long sentence, and I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to keep on talking, and I'm not going to let you guys get in. And GD, you can't speak, and here I go. And I mean, I can keep on going, keep on running, and not even have a breath of a break.
Right.
And I think that functionally is whether it's intentional or not, because you and I'm not sitting in the White House. I don't know what he's thinking or not. And
He's not
but I
thinking.
can see the technique is working, that we are speaking to these things, that by the time we have a conversation, look at this. This is a longer broadcast. Imagine if I was on this thing for 3 minutes. You think we could talk about how do I do it? The boycotts and the bottles.
No, you just come on to say, we're headed for a depression. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah. And the reality is, unfortunately, we have a TikTok universe. We are all 30-second information. And all you have to do is talk for 31 seconds, and you've overwhelmed that information cloud. 31 seconds will overload the 30. That's it. So I don't know the motive, which is conspiracy theories, meaning there's a secret motive this or a secret motive that. Can't speak to anyone's motive. I just met yourself and Steven and GD. To understand a person, you have to have a 2-hour conversation over coffee, and then what are you feeling?
Right.
30 seconds you don't. So as long as you know to override, you are causing the conversation to shift. And I think when you look at even Google News right now, I'm pulling it up as we speak, every news story is about the bravado more than the subject.
Right.
Yeah.
And do we want to talk about the subject, or do we want to talk about, Trump said that Ukraine is a dictator?
Right.
I almost feel like I just try dealing with, give me the facts on the ground now. Everything else is noise. Steven, you hate GD, you love GD, and you're wearing GD's shirt looks ugly or not. All that is noise. You know what I'm saying? You could say BS, if you will. It's that question of the conversation saying, what is it going on? What are the facts? I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you love me. Did guys in Alaska lose their job? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That's all that matters at the end of the day. Or how does that affect the average American who just wants to go on with their day, figure out their stuff, and be happy?
With my first wife, we were having an argument. It was one of those moving arguments that starts in one room and you keep talking and moving to other rooms. And we're moving down the stairs, and she calls me a very vulgar name. And I look at her.
Do that. I just met you, so you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, you could.
It would take me at least a week or two.
Al?
Keep going.
Did she call you Al?
Vulgar, much more vulgar than that.
Bill?
Did you give her some slappity?
And then she turned around. She turned around to look for my reaction, because she was really trying to hurt me. And I was just staring at her. And she goes, "Hurt, doesn't it?" And I said, "No, it doesn't hurt me." I said, "But," I said, she said, "What's that look for?" I said, "Because I want to know why you want to hurt me. I don't care what you called me. I want to know your motives behind calling me that." And that was totally, she dropped the name calling, because then she wanted, I get to find out why she was trying to hurt me, not all the shit that she's just throwing at me, because we could yell and yell and yell and yell, and nothing ever gets resolved until we get to the why.
I agree on that. I agree on the why. And I think it's a question also of what you're there in that conversation for. You might find you're having an argument with your ex-wife on curfews or budget or bills, and at the end of the day, you're like, why are you yelling at me about this and this?
Still something stupid like her sister's better in bed. Something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to say I 100% agree with Dominic so far that GD's shirt is ugly.
And GD, I also agree that your wife's sister was better in bed than her. So
what? I just met you. You caused trouble.
Yeah. So, Dominic, coming back to the idea of, because I don't follow all the directions that tariffs are going in.
That's my job to do. My job is to lose my mind every day. Yes.
Right. So
read
all
the
these
news
tariffs,
and feel sad about myself. Exactly.
Is there one retail market that is going to be more affected than the others, and how long do you expect it to take before it hits the consumer where we start to feel directly?
I say who is not going to be affected would be who is not connected. And what I mean by not connected, Amish woodworkers who do not import their wood and make their own products and do not ship their products. People making quilts, Vermont maple makers, But if your market is touching something else, which is almost every darn market, you're affected. Now, the when is a great question, and I get this question a lot. I can start a chicken farm much faster than I can start a car company or a steel plant. Even regardless of the dollars. I mean, you mentioned it earlier in terms of timeline. How long will it take, even if you snap your fingers, say, give me that Kentucky bourbon to stock the shelves? But to fix a market, it depends on the size of that market. And if we're talking steel, for example, or energy or coal or something massive, it will be longer than 5 minutes. Now, I'm not giving the specific because I have not manufactured steel. I don't know that. I can imagine, and I'm trying to give it in terms that every person watching this can figure out. How long do you think it takes you to literally, I made my own AirPods today and I'm going to stock them on the shelves? It'll take you 5 minutes. It's going to take months of just, Mind Dog, here's the product, put it on a shelf.
Yeah.
Now, electronics, or I saw chips recently. I don't think anyone on this call has made a chip, but I guarantee you it will take much longer.
Kind? I made a potato chip about a week ago.
You ruined my punchline. I think anyone here in the call made a chip, but it takes much longer than making a potato chip. You see, punchline, it worked.
No, this is his purpose on the program. We brought him on to step on other comedians' lines. Now, we didn't expect you to be coming up with a punchline, so he was just
because I'm very funny and smart and humble. I got all of them.
Yeah,
and I'm a good cook, which is why I went to potato chips.
I want to push back on something that he said earlier about brand loyalty, and I don't disagree with the old brand loyalty concept. But during the pandemic, because Corona was named Corona, it took a very big hit, and people were going to the Modelo or whatever, which is the same beer in a different bottle. But that came back pretty quickly.
But that brand was super strong. Same with the French fries and the Freedom fries. Everyone knew it. I think, though, it also depends on the pain and the blame. The pain has to be deep. Coronavirus had nothing to do with Mexico, and yes, there was blame about China, etc., but it wasn't Mexico caused the virus.
Yeah, that was a stupidity thing. That whole coronavirus, that was stupid. That was stupidity. That was not like a tariff thing. The Corona was still available. It's not like Corona would pull themselves off the shelf. It was just people being stupid.
Right.
Exactly. So I think, though, there is that specificness. Brand is about love and the love and hatred, and the love of Corona.
It's also about self-identification.
I agree. And I think with Corona, you had that love of Corona, that memory. But you're right. It did have an effect. And I think on all this stuff, it's a question of how much that hits. I mean, do you love that Kentucky whiskey versus Canadian, or maple syrup? Do you need Canadian maple syrup versus Vermont? Maybe that's an equal love that you're okay and you'll buy the Vermont maple syrup because a tree is a tree, so to speak, is your logic. I'm not saying it's accurate or not, but I do think brand starts to do it. And I point back to the iPhone. We love the iPhone, and it's not necessarily the better product. One thing I love when I talk about brand is there's these knockoff AirPods, and they have the little LED screen here, which these don't. So this tells me how long the battery is numerically, and this one, the AirPod, doesn't. The AirPod will sell more. We love the AirPod.
Yeah.
This doesn't. And when you talk about love of a product, it will then supersede at times all given logic. That also in turn can affect negatively if you look at Elon Musk right now. Tesla sales in Germany are down. That has a definitive business effect. And how long will it take? Do you think someone's going to turn around tomorrow now and say, I really want a Tesla in Germany? Germany has laws against making any gesture which could be interpreted in any way as relating to the Nazis. Wow. Now you have an entire generation who will say, I remember that. I don't want to touch that. Right. And the depth of love and identity, what you just said before, I think causes this moment of going, I love Teslas. I want a Tesla. Oh my God, I want a Tesla. Wait a minute. I'm not sure I love that anymore. Now I'm feeling this side.
Right.
And mind you, that identity has hit politics. Certainly people have sides and they have teams. And it's very hard to get the American psyche and human psyche out of the team mentality just to say, do you have food on your table? Do you have a job? Do you have a cousin who's laid off? Are you getting issues, getting whatever you need? And just leaning towards facts. Unfortunately, I think facts and politics have become painfully intertwined and messed up at this point.
We can't agree on whether it's day or night. It's a really facts are always in question, and the minute you come up with the facts, somebody's going to question the source of that. It's like,
which is why, by the way, I am so pro media, because the job of the media is that, fifth estate. That job is that check, that balance of truth. Unfortunately, people realize very quickly that social media is a form of media, and then anybody can become a central source of truth. But it is reliant, I think, at this point, given the confusion on truth, do your research.
Right.
Look it up yourself. Everything we've said, I invite people, look up jobs in Alaska and look up this. And then the best part to me is when I'm wrong. I'm okay with it. I'm human. I make mistakes. I try to get the right facts. Sometimes I'm wrong. A lot of times I'm wrong, depending if you ask my wife. I'm wrong all the time. That's okay.
We have lost, and that's a commendable quality. I think as a society, we have lost the capacity to say, I might be wrong, or maybe I was wrong. I was wrong. All those things. It's less like admitting to making a mistake has become passe. It's like a part of yesterday's world. And
I truly don't think there's anything wrong with being wrong. I think there's wrong with not admitting it and saying, I messed up. I got to fix it. Or you proved me wrong. You proved me right. You changed my point of view. That's cool. Wow. There's a lot of things I'm okay with having my point of view changed.
Right. Let's talk about Retail Wire, because I'm confused about who exactly it's for. There seems to be I know you're a media person and a retail economist. Is that fair to call you a retail economist?
I am.
He's a wholesale economist. No.
I am
wholesale economist at retail prices.
I am. I would say more so all the above. I've been in the media space in general for at least 2 Sweet 16s in a row. I wouldn't say over 30 because that's craziness. I was known more for mainstream media. I founded the celebritycafe.com, which was all entertainment news, Game of Thrones, Kim Kardashian, Britney Spears, that sort of thing. I got more into Retail Wire, where I'm speaking just economy and retail, and McDonald's came out with the newest Whopper. In addition, you'll see them on various boards on my LinkedIn. I think fortunately, anyone watching, come to my LinkedIn or miserantino.com. You'll see my last name, and you'll have all those clips. And what I try doing now is taking information and making it clear as possible for the average person to absorb.
Right.
Which is, to me, Media 101. That's the job. You take information so that the average person can understand it.
But is it for because I'm looking at it right now, and we have stories about Nike and Coca-Cola and this kind of thing. It seems like it might be like big picture stuff. As a retail person, the stories might not be as important as like an investment type of thing. So
absolutely depends on the personality. It's for all the above, though. You're speaking to a wide audience, which could be both retailers, consumers, investors, all the above.
Right.
Now, you had mentioned that it was written so that the average person could understand it, but there's a difference between understanding and accepting.
So that's deep. That's too deep for this early in the morning, but I accept it just the same.
Also,
I'm just saying that the
average. Half the people you know are below average. I don't know if you knew that.
And half are above average. See,
well,
eyes wide open.
I thought that was median. See, I thought that was median. Half are above and half are below. That was the median. Average is not necessarily in the middle. You're talking to a guy who almost got a passing grade in statistics. So
almost.
No, 99% of all statistics are made up on the spot. So
exactly. Right. But no, I think that is always the goal of any communication. You want to be heard. You want to be understood. At times, I think that is definitely the curse of it going back to politics, but everything. We're making things complicated. I'm truly impressed by Trump and AOC for one commonality. They know how to make the message super clear. Build a wall. How are you doing? And both of those, whether I'm not stating agreements of messaging so much.
You are a good dancer. I got to tell you, you're dancing around that political line. We're still trying to figure out where you are, where you're both.
Because you know what? I can't dance on the dance floor, but I'm pretty damn good with the mouth dancing,
Yeah.
Look at Steven. He's enjoying this the most. I saw your face.
Steven is taking up Ron's role of being the guy who just sits there and doesn't say anything now.
No, he's just the eye candy in the situation. Yeah. I get it.
Oh, stop it.
So Dominic,
go rot your teeth out.
You're a Brooklyn guy, Long Island guy.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna guess your age, but you're probably not
26
too much
years
younger
old.
than I am.
43.
Long Island, when I grew up, was just becoming the land of malls and mini malls and all that kind of stuff.
And mini malls and biggie mini malls. Yes.
Retail space everywhere. And then somewhere around 2008 with the bust in the housing bust, Riverhead, when you drive through there and every retail place was closed. Now that was before that was like it's starting to be like the online e-commerce America. The long-winded question is, for places like Long Island that are so built on these just local stores everywhere, the online, e-commerce stuff, killing Long Island completely, or is going to be like all that commercial real estate just wasted now?
I think evolution. It's all a game to me of evolution. In that, the question I had. If you go to my LinkedIn, you will see an article from The Sun in Britain about is retail dead and is there a retail apocalypse? Similar concept.
Right.
It's not. It means you evolve. Like I just saw here on Long Island, someone did a Harry Potter pop-up. Or there's a restaurant nearby, they do every week is a theme night, and they just did Squid Games as a theme night. A great example I love is Spirit Halloween. There is a dead mall. It does not exist. And then magically there's a Spirit Halloween. And then magically they go away. I think people have this experiential feeling. And we kind of learned a little bit during COVID. The beginning of COVID, we all screamed, delivered to my door. Steven, I'm driving up to your store. You pop it in my trunk and don't look at me. I'm not in the mood to look at your face. And you drove the hell home. And I think we kind of, in a way, loved it at first because we will all get COVID and we will be done for. Yeah. And then later, the Stevens in the world go, okay, I've done this 27 times. I just want to go in the store and have the old lady at front look at me funny while I buy this and this and this. Yes, you just want that human interaction for a tenth of a second.
We experienced that. I worked in cell phones during the pandemic. And it was exactly that. We went from face-to-face interactions to everything over the phone, and then we would just bring it to your car. And at first we loved it. We were like, shit, now we don't got to deal with annoying ass old people or, people with 4 kids running around the store. But after like 6 months, I'm like, I would fucking love to just sit and have a conversation with somebody for 15 minutes while I set up a cell phone instead of sitting here by myself listening to music.
It also depends on your personality, because some people, when COVID hit, I was so happy that I didn't have to interact with some people.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the other hand, but I did miss interacting with the people that I liked. See, so it gave me excuses. Excuse me?
All three of them?
Four.
I'm sorry.
I'm counting myself in that.
Okay, good. You should.
So, yeah. So, but there were things like there's some events I don't like going to. And it's like, you want to go to a wedding? It's like, no, I really don't. You want to do that? I don't really. You want to carpool? No, I'm not. And no, thank you. But then there are other people that would go out of my way. They say, you want to do something? It's like, well, COVID. And I'll go like, well, we can wear masks. Well, we can do this outside. Because I will go the extra mile to be with the people I wanted to be with. And the people that I didn't want to be with, I wouldn't budge an inch. I was like, so we got to say, don't worry about it. It's COVID. I'll see you in 2 years. So whenever this is over with.
And isn't that funny about human nature that you were willing to go to that wedding, let's say, with a mask on if you wanted to go, and if you didn't want to go, you were like, I can't go.
I was going to states where they did not allow, where I was going to any state that would let me do comedy. Even though COVID was going on, I'd go there and I'd take my protocols. I'd take my mask. I was vaccinated. And even they're like going, we don't wear masks. They were fine. I wear a mask. I have allergies, which I do, but, and I'd go in Georgia, and I know like half the place is crawling with infected people, but I wanted to do comedy. So I went to Georgia. I wanted to do comedy. So I went to North Carolina. Now I went to these places that said, fuck the virus. We're going to get out, and if we kill everybody, we're fine with that.
Yeah. Yep. You notice he didn't say Alabama.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say Alabama because I have a distance that I would drive in Alabama that exceeded that.
To hell? Hell is that?
No, well, I won't. No, the distance is I won't go to the 1930s.
Okay. Yeah. We'll talk about that at another time. 1930s. We talked about coronavirus, and I was saying during that, when it was first starting, that it was a dress rehearsal for what's to come. Now, I saw you were quoted in an article about bird flu, and I don't want. It's really hard to not drag into political stuff here. But
I'm ready. I can handle anything.
All right, so bird flu on the horizon, and a lot of it seems to be, well, if I look at a map, a lot of it in California. Is there a economic solution to cutting off this thing before it gets out of control with with driving? Yeah, I never knew that eggs were the commodity that drove everything else up, but apparently they have a.
Well, yeah, eggs are definitely at a record high. If you can Google it, it is literally a record right now at this moment. But I think I know you concerned about conspiracy, and I think the solution to conspiracy is also simple. Occam's razor, simple solutions.
Right.
If you go to the store yourself right now and you look at where your products come from, foods, they're from everywhere in the world.
Right.
My favorite example I saw was it was canned peaches that went from somewhere in South America, somewhere in Asia, came to us.
Right.
You have to think of the logistics of that again. I love thinking of just the pragmatic operations.
Right.
So when you're asking a question about bird flu, how? Well, because no point in human history, in the 1800s, they weren't shipping containers, peaches, a fresh fruit, to go from one continent to the other and back another is insanity. If you had your cousin in England get sick and they got on the steamliner, it's been 8 days to cross the Atlantic, and now we're in a world that's immediate. And I think even what I point to is the past 5 years, you have kids who are ordering on Temu and they're getting products direct from China. So does it shock me that certain diseases and certain things come to, I think it's a conspiracy, or is it just a mere fact? Look what you learn when your cousin and you're at a wedding and your cousin has a cold and you're 100 people you gather in the room. We are gathering in this international room of 180 whatever countries in the world in one room now.
Right.
And we're doing it quickly and we're doing it rapidly. And I think the reason you're seeing it purely more is how easy it is. And one other example I love is I had I'm on a board of directors, and I do a lot of speeches and lectures, and I love that. When anyone's called about like get me on stage, I do it. And I had one that was overnight. Got on the plane, fly to Miami, come home. Fly to Boston, come home. That is not in a point of human history a common thing. You weren't, mind dog, talking to your grandpa, and he's like, "Oh, when I was a kid, I flew to Miami and back for the day." Economically, functionally, you can do it. So now, if I flew to Miami or flew to wherever, and there's any disease in the world, unfortunately, that's happening. And is it happening with just me? No, I'm not special. I'm one guy of hundreds of millions of Americans who are every day transiting, and not just America, the planet.
Right.
I think that's something you have to consider, that just functionally, that's how the world is.
Yeah. So basically,
is that a good question we're seeing here too?
What's the pragmatic solution to our computer chips being made overseas? And Taiwan's part of that equation too, right? Or am I wrong in that? Taiwan?
Yeah, Taiwan's humongous in such a thing. I love the question because I try leaning towards pragmatism. And yes, one could incentivize people here in the States. I think Tesla had funding when they started. SpaceX had funding when they started. You incentivize that's a great example, actually, SpaceX, because you funded this for-profit company to get started, to get an alternative to NASA. So at least you had more than one option. NASA has an issue, you got another company. That's, to me, the real historical example that if you want to get chips in the States, you have to do that. But the pragmatism is, I bet you $1 it's going to take more than a week. Find the location, build the
8
factory.
days. I did the math. It's 8 days. No,
8 days.
8 days.
God himself took 7. And that's the reality. You have to incentivize it. You have to get it moving immediately. And then, which I don't know, the supply chains of what materials from where. And I would gamble tariffs do not grease the wheels of those supply chains, getting the raw materials from here, there, and there. Those are the operations. And if you can get the materials in this country, you can incentivize a company to say it makes more sense to make it here than there. You clear the path like you've done. You will have chips here, but realistically, you're talking a presidential term to get a factory up and running, and the labor, and to hire the janitor in the place is still going to take a week and a half,
No, but there was one, I thought at least one company did start making them because of Biden's, was it affordable, the CHIPS Act? Was it the CHIPS Act where there's a company? Let me see here. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to find it. I'll find it and I'll let you know what I'm talking about.
I love.
By that time, well, depending on how quick you are with the Google machine.
The famous Google will tell us everything,
Yeah.
But were there any other final questions from the loving Mind Dog audience?
Well, just one about, and this is coming about retailwire.com. Do you have a staff of writers, or do you do all the content creation yourself?
No, I'm not smart enough to do the content creation myself. I'm just the eye candy of the situation. I have a wonderful staff of writers, and I just sit there and look pretty and talk to people like you, who then get people to read what they write.
I'm sorry about that. That's
and I'm not even doing the job of being pretty well, so I just try.
We have to put you through such a torture. Well, we thank you for being here. Retailwire.com.
Thank you, my
link
friend.
is in the description. Dominic, thank you for being here. Thanks for the value you've added to this program. And
I love it. Give me the links, and I'd love to share and tag you all.
Great. Thank you.
All right, man.
Dominic Messandrino. I got it right that time, I think.
You got it. There you go.
Wait, was that Ron I just heard? Oh, it's Steven. You talk? Since when do you talk?
Now.
GD still look. He's got that intent. I'm looking shit up look on his face.
Is that Louis Armstrong behind you?
Yes, it is.
Louis Armstrong. I like it. We're gonna play some news and then we'll come back. We'll meet Mike Cateo, not see, you guys got it wrong. You guys, you steered me wrong anyway. If I would have read your little private message right, I still would have got it wrong. News.
Villagers in southern Lebanon are returning home as Israeli forces withdraw from key border areas under a U.S. brokered ceasefire. Despite the pullout, Israel maintains control over 5 strategic positions, which Lebanese leaders denounce as a violation of the agreement.
Residents are assessing extensive damage to their homes, many of which were destroyed during the conflict and occupation. Lebanese authorities and the UN are calling for a complete Israeli withdrawal in line with the ceasefire terms. Kevin Sanders reporting.
In Colombia's Chaco Department, the National Liberation Army has initiated a 3-day armed strike. This action has led to business closures and halted public transportation, confining residents to their homes. Kyle Norris reports.
The ELN claims the strike is a response to alleged alliances between state forces and paramilitary groups targeting rebels and community leaders. The Colombian military has condemned the strike, suggesting it aims to facilitate illegal mining and drug trafficking.
Iranian authorities have charged a British couple detained since January with espionage. The pair, identified as Craig and Lindsay Foreman, were arrested in Kerman for allegedly gathering intelligence for hostile nations.
The UK government has expressed deep concern over the situation. Officials are providing consular assistance and are in close contact with the Foreman's family. Benjamin Wright reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
With Carl.
A massive fire has erupted at a Pennsylvania aerospace manufacturing facility. The blaze has prompted local authorities to issue shelter-in-place orders for nearby residents.
Emergency responders are on the scene, working to contain the fire and assess potential hazards. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Federal workers across the United States are facing mass layoffs following an order from the Trump administration. The directive targets probationary employees who lack civil service protections. Advocacy groups have filed complaints alleging the firings may be illegal. The layoffs could lead to significant backlogs and efficiency losses in various federal agencies. The White House has defended its decision to bar Associated Press reporters from presidential events.
The action stems from the AP's refusal to adopt President Trump's renaming of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that media access decisions rest with the president. Jessica Oakley reporting.
The acting head of the Social Security Administration, Michelle King, has resigned following a dispute over data access. King refused to grant the Department of Government Efficiency access to sensitive recipient information.
The White House has appointed Leland Dudek as the interim commissioner and nominated Frank Bisignano for the permanent role. Concerns have been raised about unauthorized access to private taxpayer data. Jim Kender reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
With bird flu?
Yep.
Thank you, Ron. Now you used to be a substitute Willie. Now you're a substitute Ron. By the way, Stephen, I was banging Stephen's mother last night from behind, and because that's
all
how
right.
she likes it. All right.
Cool story, Dad.
She happened to. She turned around to me and said, "Would you like to see a photo of Stephen when he was younger?" And I was like, every photo is when he was younger. I mean, obviously, unless you're taking it in the second that I'm looking at it. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know.
I mean, I guess you're not technically wrong.
Anyway, she did share with me a photo of Stephen. Now, I want to say he looked a little feminine as a young man, a very young boy. But here's a picture his mother shared with me of Stephen when he was a kid. How about that? I believe that was his 5th birthday party. Anyway, so yeah, Steve's mother.
To be fair, I although my grandfather attempted to, I was never taken to a Klan meeting.
All right.
What about a rally? What about a cookout? Playing cookout?
I was just trying to show people there was a time you had hair. That's all. I don't know.
No, I've never had hair. Actually, I did. I used to have a bowl cut when I was a little kid.
All right, Mike Cateo is with us now. You could say Cateo, I could say Cateo. Let's call the whole thing off.
Potato.
He's a member of the Slaptail Squad, but I don't know if he's the guy who speaks for Slaptail.
He's not
on Facebook. How do you know that? We'll know in a second when we
because
ask.
I know John Beavers.
That doesn't mean that he's doing all the posting on Facebook.
John Beavers is Slaptail.
They could take turns. How do you know? Have you been there? Have you been to Slaptail headquarters?
Yes,
slapping tail while they're
been there.
posting.
I've been there slapping tails.
Anyway, Mike Cateo knows how to take the comedy stage by storm. And you know how that is? You just wait for a storm to come, and then you flash a light at whoever's up there, and they'll think it's time to get off. And then you just take the stage. He's here now. Say hello.
Hey.
Mike Cateo. Good morning.
What's up, guys?
Now, are you really outside, or is that a green screen?
Echo.
Really outside.
Serious echo.
Hello?
Well, there is an echo.
Oh, no.
Oh, so he's not really outside, because if he was really outside, it would be an echo.
No.
All right, I could do the echo cancellation thing. How about that?
Does that work?
Better. Yeah, that's better.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The echo cancellation was turned off on his mic for some reason. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Okay. Where are you located?
Rahway, New Jersey.
Oh, Wildwood, New Jersey. For some reason, I thought you were out west. Now, do you know Steven? Because he claimed to know all the Slaptail squad.
I do not know Steven. I'm interested, though, in how the Klan rallies went. Do you scream
Is
white
this a
lives
passing
matter?
interest? Is this a passing interest, or you want to join?
Do you scream white lives matter every day? Like, what's going on there?
It's part of my morning ritual. I brush my teeth, I take a shit, I scream white lives matters. Then I come because that gets me off. And then I go to work. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
All right. Whenever I come, I just yell abort.
Well, normally my wife just shines a light at me and I know when to get off. But you know.
So
looking like a true comedian.
Slaptail squad, Slaptail comedy, right? Is that all in New Jersey, or is that?
No, that's they are in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo.
Yeah. GD, I am not interested in any Klan rallies. My father is Cuban, so dark enough.
All right, dark enough. Yeah. Cuban. All right. So now with the Facebook thing for Slaptail Squad, who's writing that? Are you writing that, John B?
No. John does everything. He's like a one-man shit show. He does everything.
Okay. Now I have your website scrolling across funnymanmike.com, but I also have Slaptail Squad. Now, do you still do a podcast, Slaptail Squad?
Yeah. They record once a week, and I try to go on every chance I get.
Is it remote? It's like this, right?
Yeah, it's like this. It's remote.
You're not flying out to Kalamazoo.
No, no.
So in other words, you have no commitment.
Right.
I am committed.
Yeah. All right.
To many institutions.
So you perform mostly locally, like in New York, New Jersey?
No, I travel every chance I get. I tour. I'm going to Vegas, Indianapolis, Chicago. I got some LA in March. So I travel as much as I can.
Wow. So we have people from Slaptail in the chat room, and we have a squad member in Fresno, California. So good for you. The road dog life. I like that. Do you enjoy the traveling when you're performing, or is it a burden or a pleasure?
It's a mixed bag. Like I love going to new cities, and I miss my family when I get there. So some days I need the break, but most days I miss my family.
Yeah, but like the road life is basically waiting 23 hours to perform for 40 minutes or something, right?
Exactly. It's not the life for most.
See, it's different in music. It's much different in music because when you're traveling, you got to do a sound check. You got to be there 4 hours before the show, do the sound check. Then you go get something to eat, but then you come back and you do a longer show than most comedians do. It's just, but it's still, there are way too many hours in the day to fill, and that's where you end up getting in trouble. How so for you? There's almost 23 hours extra to fill in the day. How do you stay?
I try to stay out of trouble as much as I can. I was a crackhead for years, so I haven't done that, and that kind of keeps me sane. Like not doing drugs or alcohol kind of helps with everything else.
All right. So you're totally sober?
Totally sober, yeah. Wow. I want to try California sober. I hear that's the way to go.
I'm not even sure what that means because I know California sober can mean having a beer now and then. It could be smoking a joint now and then. It could be doing mushrooms now and then.
I think it's referred to as just doing weed.
Yeah, that's what like my one of my best friends smokes weed every day, and she's like, you know, would this mess up your sobriety? I'm like, I don't know, and I don't want to chance it. Let's just not have any weed right now.
Wow. Now on your website, it's got like a whole lot of really impressive credits there from all the networks and all this stuff. Do you have specials on all the on Amazon Prime or?
I don't have on Amazon Prime. That's a goal. I have I'm putting together a comedy festival. I have a documentary coming out about me. Hopefully next year. We're still filming it. And I'm creating the first ever disabled comedy festival, and I'm going to be pulling in comics from across the nation to go to New York and perform. There's not going to be a lot of handicap parking that week. I guarantee it.
Hey, I'm a Crippy boy. Send me an invite. Let's go.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm in a chair, man.
Get out, my brother. What's up?
It's funny he just uses that whenever he needs to get work. This is what he's just using it. He's faking it.
Listen, don't know. Crip privilege is a thing.
He's faking.
From the bedroom to the stage, man. You can get pity time anywhere.
Yeah. I miss the good old days when being black was a handicap, but now
it still is. It just depends on where in the country.
Depends on where you are.
Yeah, it's not in comedy. In comedy, being black is not a handicap. It's almost like another black comedian. What the fuck?
With Trump in office, you're almost there, buddy.
Oh. So now, what is your disability? Because I've seen you seem completely able. What is your disability?
I was in a car accident when I was 18 months old. I have a brain injury, and
driving at 18 months old, I could have told.
I know I shouldn't have been drinking. Drunk driving accident? Who gives a toddler the keys, man? But I was, and because of that, I can't use the left side of my body. My arms messed up, my legs. I walk with a limp, but I do pretty well.
Yeah, no. So I had to ask, what would you consider a disability? So you do very well. Good for you.
I do very well. Okay.
Now, did that help or hinder you in comedy? It's doing stand-up comedy.
It gives you a lot of material to draw from, but I just don't want to make every joke about my disability. Yeah. But if I did lose my disability, I'd have to write a whole new set. Like, there's this question they always ask: would you rather be disabled or not? Would you rather not be disabled? I'm like, if I could take a pill to lose my disability tomorrow, I probably wouldn't, because I'd have to write a whole new act.
See, John Beaver's called it exactly right. Steven trying to get both, making sure Mike sees him wheel around the chair. The thing is, when the camera's off, Steven is up doing. He's like Michael Jackson. He's just doing the moonwalk.
He jumps around.
It's just like Michael Jackson. He's got a monkey and he's got some children in the room.
Whoa!
What that little boy found from under the desk? What?
You can call me a Klansman. Don't call me a pedophile now. Come on, jeez.
I didn't call you a pedophile. I said a monkey with children in the room. I didn't say what you were doing with them. You just came up with that on your own.
That combination only means one of three things, and I'm not Casey Anthony, so that narrows it down to two.
Wow. We've totally. I apologize for where
I'm
that
just
went.
saying one does protest too much.
See, I think there is.
This happens whenever I come on a show. It goes downhill really quickly.
No,
I don't
there
know.
was no uphill to begin with.
We start in the bottom of the valley, so there is no downhill.
Yeah, we start at the bottom and we start digging.
Awesome. Steve, can I tell you something? I grew up in Staten Island, and when I was like 19, 20, I had an operation on my leg. So I got this motorized wheelchair, and like an idiot, I went to the city one day, and I had to take a ferry to get back home. And I'm driving up the hill to the ferry on my electric wheelchair, and it just stops working, and I start rolling backwards.
Yeah, that's exactly that is one of like 4 reasons why I've never owned a power chair. Because, dude, you know how many times I've gone down a hill on accident with a regular chair? Like, I couldn't imagine being in something that big and heavy. And it just goes. That's like being in a car, basically, except there's nothing between you and whatever you smack into, because obviously you're just gonna, man. Now, granted, I did that a lot on purpose too. As a kid, I would, fling myself out of the chair and all that fun shit. But that's scary.
I'm curious about motorized wheelchairs then, because I know I had a motorized bike, and when the motor stopped, you could pedal. Do they have that on the wheelchairs? When you stop, you could just pedal?
Steve writes some fucking word. What are you gonna do? Pedal, Steve, pedal.
I got motorized sneakers.
So I can't use my left hand. It's like posed in that position. If I could walk better, I'd be a waiter. But
Pee Wee Herman defense.
So I forgot.
But you could get work if you did this, right?
But here's the thing: the vocational hazard for comedians with a disability is if the audience knows that you have to talk about it, but understanding where. You gotta mention the elephant in the room, but where you draw the line, where you stop making the humor about your disability. Because I've seen disabled comics who go on for a half hour or 40 minutes, and every single joke is about their condition, and then it becomes uncomfortable. There's that line where you acknowledge it, you relieve the tension that people, or the uncomfortable thing when people first notice it, and then you move on and you start doing comedy that is about other things. But it seems to be like understanding where that line is a difficult call to make sometimes. Yeah, do you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, you're right. Like at some points, I'm sick of talking about my disability, so I try to weave in like real life stuff and try to make it so that people understand I'm human.
Right. Yeah, like what Steven does, and this is really weird because Dave Landau isn't even disabled, but Steven steals all his material from Dave Landau.
God, I do not.
And then,
no, I sprinkle in the disability because a lot of mine are stories from life, right? But a lot of them have ended up funny because I'm disabled. It's not like, oh, I'm disabled, this all sucked because of it. No, it's like the fall down the Lincoln Memorial Steps was funny because I was in a chair. That's what made it funny. Right. Or like my ex-wife being evil and trying to take my chair. She wouldn't have tried to take my chair if I wasn't in a wheelchair, So like I sprinkle it in. I don't just get up there and be like, feel sorry for me for 30 minutes. Because that's nobody wants that. That's sad.
They don't start feeling sorry for him until he starts telling his material.
I'm just looking over Dave Landau, and he says the key to comedy is not making people feel sorry for you for 30 minutes. So you just stole that line.
The key to comedy is to make people laugh.
Oh,
I thought it was to get paid, bitch.
GB, you're out.
Yeah,
you're out. Yeah.
So
with Slaptail, I see on Slaptail Nation they have open mic nights and things like this, and Slaptail Winter Comedy Showcase Party and all that kind of stuff. Do you get out to the four of you do shows together? Like it's the podcast crew.
Well, so I'm the only professional comic. John is a comic as well, but he's focusing on hosting. And so I traveled down there. I traveled down there last year or 2 years ago, and I'm planning to go back this year. But it's hard. It's hard because I am a bad driver, and it's a 12-hour drive.
Wow. Yeah,
I just recently made the drive from because I live maybe 2.5 hours from John. That's how I've been to his open mic, and he put the ramp up and all that stuff. It was awesome. But I've made the drive. I drove out to Long Island like 3 weeks ago, or almost a month ago, and it was a rough drive, man. I didn't realize I honestly I didn't have a lot of gas or a lot of money. I had everything budgeted down to the penny. I got home with like $32 left in my pocket.
He encountered a crack horse that's $5 for a hand job, and he goes, "I got $4.99. I can't. I can't."
Well, she gave me half off, so
she took out her teeth. It was fine. You know what? You should get a motorized wheelchair and go across the country.
That would be cool.
I'm still trying. I'm still trying to figure out how and where to kick around the idea of doing a documentary following me around as I try to get into these clubs and get on their stages and like show like the difficulties and try to make awareness, because going to Governors was definitely like a wake up call, because if I was to go to LA or New York, where some of these clubs that are staples that have been around forever, they can't necessarily modify and make it accessible, or they just choose not to, either or, but shining some light on it and making some awareness without being the guy that goes to the club and then shits on them for a week because they couldn't get on their stage.
Unless you're into that, getting shit on. So that's part of the mission of the comedy festival, is to make it so that clubs are handicap accessible. And so we should talk offline, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But I have a question for you. How many times have you been in an accident, and how many years have you been driving?
Did John ask you to ask that question?
As a journalist, I cannot reveal my sources.
Wow, that's a yes.
Yeah, journaling doesn't make you a journalist.
Oh,
but interviewing crazy people who talk to 8 foot tall praying mantises does.
But
ask Joe Rogan. Anyways,
on the same note, does anal make you an analyst?
Yes.
I just want to know, because
only to keeping track. Otherwise, it's not a list. It's just anal.
Wait a second, Mike. You grew up in Staten Island and you moved to New Jersey. Is that?
Yeah. Unfortunately,
was it to get away from the smell?
Jersey smells worse.
Yeah.
I moved here because I fell in love, and this is
pizza.
where
You fell in love with the pizza in Jersey. Is that?
This is where my wife made me move.
All right. Well, good for you finding love.
I feel that my wife made me move to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Ooh.
Yeah.
My wife made me move out of her way so she could find happiness.
That's funny. Look at you. Good God, buddy.
There's a first time for everything.
Wait, hold on, Mike. I need you to answer the question though. How many accidents in how many years?
So
for a crippled guy, you really dance around a question. Come on.
I'm a good dancer. I don't know. I'm a good dancer. So I got my license in 2019.
Okay.
I've been in about 19 to 20 accidents. I don't know how much 7 goes into 19, but I do know how many cars I've totaled. 7.
Well, how many were your fault? And not so, because sometimes you could be in, like my wife has been in a lot of accidents, but I think only 2 were her fault. The rest were the fault of the car that she was in.
Yeah.
I would just say that 7 into 19 thing, that's a Matt Gaetz joke waiting to be happening.
No, that's 19 into 7.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite 7. No, I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, like, I think on some level they were all my fault. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what? No, one was not my fault. I was sitting trying to back up, and this woman started backing up into me, and it was my dad's neighbor. And she got out and she started yelling at me, and she's like, you were the, I'm like, no, ma'am, I've been sitting here trying to back up. You did that. And she's like totally changed her tune.
Yeah.
And then she found out I was their son, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Oh, now you got a lawsuit on your hand.
Have you ever done the wrong way on a highway?
Fuck you.
So John's feeding you these
So that's
questions.
a yes.
Is that what we have going on here, Stephen? John,
Shut up, John.
So that's a yes.
Yeah, like, you know what? To be fair, I've driven the wrong way on a highway. So, but anyway,
I have a spotless driving record. I've never had an accident. I've never gotten a speeding ticket.
But you've been driving yourself since before you could walk.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
That's very good.
Can't argue with that logic.
Hey, I made GD laugh. Yes.
Yeah.
It's easy. Watch. Slapping and slapping it.
He probably thought he said it. He likes to laugh at his own jokes, so he thought he said it. He heard the echo.
No, actually, I was impressed that I never thought of that. In all the time I've known Stephen, I've never thought of that.
Wow.
I like people that can think of things I don't think of.
On your website, you have Opie and Anthony's show listed there, and Howard Stern's show. When were you on? When were you on Stern's show? How long ago?
Stern was like 2004.
So he's already on Sirius. That's really what I was getting to. He wasn't on FM. It wasn't.
No,
wasn't there. Artie was there.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And Opie and Anthony around the same time.
I can tell you the date of that one, March 6, 2006. It's
that was your birthday or something?
No, I researched the clip. Like, I wanted the clip. So the clip is on my website. I have Patrice O'Neill and Ralphie May were on. They love me.
Wow.
My target audience is dead fat guys. It's great.
I'm halfway there.
Dead fat guys. Fill a room with dead fat guys, and you'll be doing well. Except they don't order. Yeah. But there is a, like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a cult of people who are clamoring for those days of when you were the morning radio kind of morning radio that you were on, the Opie and Anthony thing, the Howard Stern thing, that Zoo in the Morning, which is kind of similar to what we do here. But there's a nostalgia for that people are holding on to, just want to be on that. But there is also a bitter rivalry. It's still that goes on, and just nastiness among the people involved in that stuff. Do you still stay in touch with any of those people?
Opie and Anthony, no. I stay in touch with. I was on a tour called the Short Bus Comedy Tour, and I stay in touch with most of the comedians on that tour.
Wow. Yeah, it's just, I don't know if you've seen, or do you follow people on social media? Because Opie and Anthony hate each other. Opie and Jimmy Norton hate each other. That's still this kind of sniping that goes on 24/7 on social media. Do you see any of that?
Yeah, I look a little bit at it, then I get bored. I'm like, come on, guys.
Right, yeah.
Say something funny. Come on.
So it's just interesting to see somebody who had been part of both on both of those programs, because you know what, they were, Opie and Anthony were like what I was accused of being when I first started in radio, as a Howard Stern wannabe. Opie was also called a Howard Stern wannabe, and there was that constant they're trying to steal our lunch type of attitude.
Yeah.
Do you know? Did you make any big time connections in the comedy world because of that morning radio experience?
it kind of propelled me. Like I left comedy for about 8 years because Opie and Anthony like blew me up, and I started getting super uncomfortable, and I started having panic attacks.
Wow.
And so
now, why was that?
I just like, most comedians, we all have low self-esteem. We wouldn't be doing this if we felt good about ourselves.
Not TG. He's got very high self-esteem.
Yeah, but that really covers the just the surface. So I think for me, like I just wasn't used to the attention, and it made me super uncomfortable. And like I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle
not ready.
the anxiety. Yeah.
And, that's good self-awareness. I always come back to Richard Dreyfuss when he first got his first Oscar for the apprenticeship of Dewey Kravitz, I think was the name of the movie. But he got nominated and he won an Oscar for that. And he said when they called his name as he was going up to accept the award, he just kept hearing a voice in his head say, "Too soon, too soon, too soon." And that just to have that awareness of where I am personally in my life, am I ready for this level of success? Most people wouldn't even have that kind of introspection to say, where am I at? What does this mean for my life, and how is it going to change me?
I wish I never left. Like, to be honest, I wish I would have just stuck with it and handled the anxiety. And I had a therapist who told me, like, you probably would have ended up dead because you would have given into your addiction and just destroyed yourself.
Maybe, or I mean, that's conjecture. Those are because sometimes if you want the comedy enough and you see it or whatever it is that you want, if you want it enough, sometimes you'll say, "Wait a minute, this drug or this alcohol or this addiction is getting in the way of what I really, really want." So sometimes it could help.
What I really, really want. Now, tell me what you want. What you really, really want.
But I was just curious. I was just curious because I didn't know if it was because you like it hit you and it's like, wait a minute, I need more material or better material or more people are going to see me or the fear of failure. Like now people are going to see me. What if they don't like me now that I'm way up here?
It felt like every show I had to prove myself again. I was always I went from being. So in 2002, I started performing like it was a career. And in 2004, I did my first hour. So I went from open micer to headliner in 2 years. Like I really pushed myself. And then, it all happened really quick. And I didn't get a chance to get used to everything happening.
Right.
Mine was very similar. In 2 years, I went from open mic to headlining, and it was by accident because the headliner didn't show up, and I just happened to be the only one that had enough material to headline, and they put me on. But then at that
point, I was the guy throwing the stuff that night. And stuff. I was there.
But how did the other comedians respond to your quick ascension? Because in many cases, comedy has this rule of what you're supposed to go through. You're supposed to do this for 5 months. You're supposed to host for so many months. And then you do this, and then you do this. And then in 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years, you can headline.
I will tell you, like, my open mic community was very supportive. Like, I came up with people like Eric Andre, Michelle Buteau, Gina Brion, and they were all super supportive people and friends.
Now, did they already have a career established? Or were they just up and coming? Okay.
They were up and coming. I broke out before all of them. Like, I remember when Michelle Buteau got Just for Laughs, and we were in a bar doing a gig, and I congratulated her, and she goes, "Next year will be your year. I know it." And the next year I quit. So, like, it was just all of that coming to head. On New Year's Day 2005, I had my name on the marquee in the Laugh Factory in Times Square, and I had all my friends. I posted it on Facebook. I had all my friends from comedy going, "Hey, nice Photoshop job." So it was, they bust your balls, but everybody was proud.
Right.
Now, you said those are your open mic crowd. And also, there were probably people in your circle who were more established, who were already featuring or maybe just starting the headline. And so were they as supportive, or were they looking at you like, wait a second, you didn't pay the dues I paid to get here?
No, everybody was super sweet. Like,
and this is New Jersey?
This was New York. I
Oh,
came
no,
up
no,
to New York.
okay, no.
Yeah.
no.
That's different. New York is a much kinder place. No, I'm just
Much.
no.
Much.
Like, everybody saw the hustle. So
Okay.
if you do the hustle and you're putting in the work, everybody knows.
That's the hustle from the disco days.
He said do the hustle. Didn't he
Yeah,
say
you
do the
did.
hustle? It
No,
triggered.
he said if. He said if you do the hustle. So you
Do
just
the
did it.
hustle.
Although you actually sang it, you didn't quite do it.
Yeah.
But it triggered me. I'm sorry.
Actually, Matt, did you know how to do the hustle, or did you just play the music because you were in the band?
Well, here's the deal. I tried to do the hustle. I would end up stepping on people.
Even people you weren't dancing with?
I'm the kind of guy who, no matter how many times you teach the right dance step, he's going to step on your foot. So
You know, it's funny. Like, my high school graduation party, my best friend's grandmother was there, and she said to my best friend, she goes, you know, he can't walk, but he sure can dance.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was funny.
I would say that I probably do the hustle a little bit better than Steven, just a little.
Yeah,
probably.
So now, with traveling the country, are there places that you avoid? Like,
no, I don't avoid, but I'm cautious when I go in there. Like, my jokes don't play well in the deep South.
yeah, I wouldn't think so. First of all, they spot you as a New Jersey, New Yorker with the accent, and they don't like you right from the beginning. You're one of them Yankees. I get that. But yeah, it's just, it's curious about where the best places to perform are, and certain people have different niches, like niche areas. Seattle, the Northwest. I know a lot of people who spend most of their time there. I know some people who spend a lot of time in Alaska, but it's like always curious to me. It's how people figure out I have people who just Northeast corridor people from Massachusetts down to DC and back and forth, and how you pick your lane in as far as geography in the United States.
I will go anywhere they pay me.
Have you done international? Have you been Canada?
Yeah, but I performed at a conference for free in Mexico. So I mean, yes, but I didn't get paid because I was just doing it for fun.
Wow. There's a thing on your website, and I haven't looked at the video yet. It's the rise of the radio show. Special guest stars Todd Barry and Colin Quinn, and you. Now, I know Todd.
Colin is a sweet guy, man. He's so nice.
Those guys are pretty close. Are you close with them, or like? Do you know them?
No, I'm not close with them, but I've known him for years. He'd know who I was if I went up and said hi, but like. I'm very outgoing, but I'm also very shy, if that makes sense. Like, I don't
make any
So
sense.
the outgoing, is that so that people won't know you're shy?
Yeah.
Is it cover?
Yeah. So you basically,
like, I'm
going
the type
out. As soon as people come in, you go out, so you don't have to be around.
Yeah, I like, if I'm in a bar and there's a party, I will back up and hang out with the wall and watch people because I get nervous about approaching people.
All right, cool. So
I knew Todd when he was coming up. Like, he's a cool guy. In that video, I played Colin Quinn's stalker. I'm in a wheelchair. It's some funny shit. They sent me in a wheelchair down this hill 5 times, and each time I thought I was gonna die because all they had was a guy at the bottom of the hill ready to catch me. Like, it was so fucking scary.
I've had believe it or not, a similar fear in Vegas doing the zip line, and I was 1 pound over the limit, and they let me go, but you have to decide because there was like a 250-pound limit. I was 251 pounds or something. But Yeah, there's a guy to catch you at the end, but I was like an out of control rocket. I was like, there's no way this guy's gonna be able to stop me. I'm flying through the air like an asteroid. And sure enough, I did take him out. I knocked him through the net at the end of it.
It helps that you lift your legs and kicked him when he tried to catch you.
No, yeah, I definitely did. I lifted the legs up and boom, the guy went flying. It was not a pretty scene. Anyway, it's just interesting. Todd Barry coming up because I've known of Todd Barry since he called in David Letterman. He was doing a Paul Schaefer impersonation on one of the viewer mail things. Hi, I'm Todd. And it was a terrible impersonation. And who would have thought that guy would become a successful comedian from that? So, but I've known of him. He seems to have a lot of antagonistic relationships, like ball busting is I think with him, if you get into his ball busting circle, that's an accomplishment.
the more comics like you, the more shit they give you.
Right. That's I think that's pretty true. So now, how full is your schedule? Do you book yourself first of all? Do you have an agent, or you book your?
I wish I had. If anyone wants to be my agent, I'm accepting phone calls. I do not have an agent. I do this all myself. I'm horrible at it. I need some pointers. So yeah, I booked myself.
You must be pretty good at it, considering the success you've had, but it's got to be like a constant hustle, right? Like
it is a constant hustle. It is. It's making calls, sending out emails. Look, at least we have emails, and we don't have to send snail mail anymore.
Right? Yeah.
They can ignore your emails as opposed to just tearing up the letters and throwing them in the trash.
Exactly. Delete.
Yeah.
Are you? Because it seems weird that you're in this slaptail squad when there are. I'm sure you're aware of this in New York, New Jersey. Little cliques that happen where people who work shows in the same clubs constantly, but they're in. It's like it's a club that you got to get into. Local cliques and clubs, or even though they don't call them that, in the area. Are you part of any little troops?
Not really. I've been focusing more on the road the last couple of years.
Isn't that hard to be a lone wolf than to be associated with, like, here on Long Island? We got the what I call the Kevin James clique. Now Kevin James has moved on from them and gone to Hollywood, but the people who had opened for him all are part of his same kind of. They play the same clubs, they play the same circuits, they travel together, and all of that stuff. Isn't that an easier life than being like a lone wolf?
It depends. It depends on what your goals are. My ultimate goal is to get into the Comedy Cellar, but I feel like I have to do more work to get there, and I don't want to shoot my shot in the city when I could perfect it all over the country and then come back and like, hey, who's this guy?
I saw somebody on Facebook talking about all they really want to do is get into the Comedy Cellar, and I was like, when did that become such a popular destination for comedians? Like the goal for a lot of people.
Hey, what I think it's
self-driving car.
Hey, Mike. I'll make you a deal. You get the van. I'll drive, and then we just perform together.
Hey, Steve, I'm down with that. That. Will you be doing the booking? Because that's what I want.
Yeah.
I'll book you as a headliner. I'll be your opener. Yeah, I'll do all the work. You just get the van, and then I'll do the rest.
If you have the time, we could share. I don't mind.
I'll hit you up. I'll hit you up on Instagram.
You just let us know so we can all stay home and off the road those days.
Steve, according to Rain Man, Steve is a very good driver.
I'm an excellent driver. Definitely excellent driver. I have an 11-year-old. She does not get my references. It kills me.
That's why you're supposed to have grown children.
Oh boy. We need to come up with like a insurance rate for you guys, because I think Steven with the New York thing, he had to kind of mortgage his house to pay for the insurance on the rental car or something.
Oh my God!
Insurance. My insurance rates are actually pretty low. I pay like $160 a month for 2 cars.
I had to get like no insurance company would take me, so I had to get group car insurance, and it is expensive. I pay over $1,000 a month for my car insurance.
Wow,
shit, a car's cheaper
a month.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't drive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So you can't have a car note. If you have a car note, it sounds like it'd be cheaper for you to just have a friend who drove.
Yeah,
and you just pay them gas and part of the insurance.
Right. Yeah. Now you don't seem like a kid. I'm just gonna say that you don't seem. Well, you're obviously everybody is younger than me, but you don't seem like a kid. Well, do you kind of?
How old do I seem, Matt?
Well,
you said you started doing comedy in 2002.
I'll say over 30, and I'll be safe there, right? And this is with me.
I'm 28, man. What are you talking about?
I'm fine. But with me, I remember when I was young, people were always saying, I wasn't planning on living this long. And so people would, what you can't, what kind of life will the musician have after, in retirement age? And they were right. It sucks financially at this point in my life because I was a predominantly a musician most of my life and planning for being older. Comedian life, I mean, where do you see yourself in this life as far as when it's time to be like old like me? Can you are you gonna be doing comedy until you die is basically the question.
I think so, man. It's my passion. It's like the goal is to here's my life story. I got married. I'm bisexual, right? I got married to a woman we got married in 2020. We've been living together since 2018. In 2022, her ex-husband came to live with us, and so we have their 11-year-old, me, my wife, and her ex-husband, all in one house.
Whoa.
And so I'm writing a sitcom based on it. And the goal would be to get that sitcom so that I can perform and get a steady paycheck and,
Yeah, I don't. Don't want to piss on your dream at all, believe me. But I don't. I'm not. No. I'm just the idea of sitcoms. I'm not sure there's a real. Obviously, the format people still enjoy that, but whether the networks or where you get a sitcom plays. But I was thinking last night, comedy movies. They stopped making. There used to be a major genre of movies called comedy, where you'd see 10 new comedies coming out every 13 weeks or so. Now they don't make comedies anymore.
Well, everything is streaming now. So, I just watched a 8-episode show, and that's what they are now. They're not these 24 episode sitcoms. They're short, sweet.
Yeah. Do you think there is still a market for a good comedy full length feature movie? Because it doesn't seem they're making. If they are, they're not marketing them. I don't see any advertising for.
I think that movies. I think you're old. I think the movies go the way. Movies aren't the same as they were when I'm 48. They're not the same as when I was in my 20s. We would go out, we would watch. Now you can stream it on Netflix or Hulu, and you have everything in the convenience of your home.
Right. Do you see comedies though, even on streaming stuff? I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of them.
Give me one, Steven. There's a lot of them. Give me one.
Space Force was one that was on Netflix. That was pretty good.
Space Force is okay. I was thinking Spaceballs, Mel Brooks. Okay, Space Force is a fairly new comedy.
I just watched this
comedy series. Yeah.
Clean Slate, which was a 8-episode comedy show with George Wallace.
Tires on Netflix with Shane Gillis. That's a new one that just came out.
You're talking about movies, though, right?
Oh, you're talking about movies.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Full-length feature movies, comedies. One like Clerks, like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I mean, that's dating myself, but I mean,
yeah, that was like in the 70s. Good God.
I'm just thinking full-length feature comedies. Car Wash. I think
the last one I saw was Neighbors 2. No, Jackass. Well, no, yeah, Neighbors 2. Probably the last one I saw, I think.
Slaptail Squad. I guess this is John, right?
Yep.
So just what Kind of Pregnant and Amy Schumer, very cute, very funny. All right. I'll have to look that one up.
I thought the last comedy movie you watched was the one about the cereals with Jerry
Seinfeld. Yeah.
I guess that would be the newest one I've seen as well.
That was, to me, it had good moments, but overall to me it was just left a lot to be desired.
Yeah. I agree, but the point I was making is, and not that long ago, that with every season of new movies, there would be a predominance of comedy. Comedy was big.
You're definitely right. Yeah,
I think part of what happens is that people are being scared out of writing good comedy because they're afraid of saying things that the average person would be really funny, but to about 10% of the people, or maybe some of the backers, the financial people, they were like, yeah, that's, that would be funny, but we could not make Blazing Saddles.
Everybody gets super offended now. Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that I think, to be honest, people are afraid to be the ones who are, quote, offending people, where people are just choosing to be offended. If I had the money, I would make the movie I want to make. And the people who don't like it and people who are offended by it, well, don't watch it.
I just read a script where the character I would play says the N-word 3 times. I'm like, my wife is like, you can't say that.
Ninja.
Oh, sure you can. Come on this program. We welcome it.
Nigga. That's simple.
Yeah, but you're the right color.
Well, careful. That's like
that sounds racist. Mike, that's really racist to say that.
What? You're the right color?
Yeah, that's really racist. That sounds like if I were a different color, I couldn't say it. I don't know. That's
kind of what that means.
What color are you?
So my daughter, her dad she's my stepdaughter, obviously, but her dad is half black and my wife is white, which surprised me.
So he could just say nig. He can't say all of it.
She is the whitest child I've ever seen. Like, the only way you would know is by touching her hair. It's a different texture.
Nappy, right?
But no, it's not nappy. But that's racist, Mark.
To be fair, my wife is Puerto Rican. She has the same hair.
Right. I have the same hair, but it's in a box over there. Yeah. All right.
I love your hair, GD. Like the color, it's so.
Well, you are really gonna enjoy my balls then.
Yeah, Matt actually has dreads on his balls.
Well, he mentioned the color, and that is the color.
If I do this, I look just like his testicles.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen his testicles. They look very similar.
I was like, how did my left testicle get in that window up there? That was really weird.
Well, when you're that age, they have a lot of wiggle room. They can just go off their own direction and do their own thing. So
no, you have to actually get a hydraulic lift. Enough about my balls. Let's talk about your balls. So, do you have something upcoming, like in the immediate future, where people are destined to come out to see you and pack?
Oh, on the 26th, I'm in Vegas at the Strat. And in March 16th, I'm at the Laugh Factory in LA. And I'm gonna get together a bunch of different shows for LA between now and then. And We'll see. I think I got another show in there somewhere, but John, I'm sure John is texting you, Steve, telling you I'm the worst with with promoting.
No, he actually hasn't said anything negative yet, outside of the fact that you shouldn't be allowed to drive. Oh, wow. He also said he did say to mention World Series of Comedy. You got selected for 2 satellites.
Yeah. So I'm World Series of Comedy. That's Vegas. Indianapolis is Indiana. Is coming up. I got selected for that one. That's in March. I forget the date. That was the show I forgot.
Right.
So
hold on a second. There's World Series of Comedy. We've had the guys on, some of the judges on in the past. That is Vegas is the final, or Boston the final?
Vegas is the final.
So you're a finalist on
No, this is the beginning. They start in Vegas and end in Vegas.
Oh, so you haven't done it yet. I was going to ask about the experience and the.
Oh, I've done. This is my 3rd year working with the World Series of Comedy.
Cool.
I've gotten so many opportunities out of it. I have nothing bad to say about them.
Right. I'd
love to try it once, man.
Feedback. You know what? As most creatives, even no matter how open they are or how introspective they may be, it's hard to hear constructive criticism. But that's what the World Series is all about. It's basically you give your performance, and then judges tell you how to improve it. GD would have a fit with that. There'd be like a Barry Katz nightmare. Barry Katz chasing him around with a comb, trying to comb his braids out all night long, and he'd be waking up like, Barry Katz. It's difficult to hear the feedback, though, right? Or is it not?
No, I mean, so they only give you feedback if you ask for it.
Oh,
but I welcome feedback because it's only going to make it better. If someone comes up to you and says, "You suck," how the hell did you ever get out of bed to perform? Yeah, I'm not going to listen to
because
that.
my wife is in bed telling me I suck, so I get out.
Well, if she's telling you suck, maybe you should be doing a better job.
No, you're right. I definitely should. There's no doubt
maybe
about it.
you should be sucking. Maybe it's a request. Maybe
it's a request.
You suck. You suck.
Suck. No.
And you're like, I'm not gay, and she's like, I mean my nipples, and you're like, ew, and then it just turns into a big ordeal.
Then you're like, I'd rather cock.
So basically, I'll just keep the cell phone next to me and call you guys for advice on what it actually means at the time. Thanks for the help. I mean, I could use all the constructive criticism I can get. But for me, so that I did not know it was by request only. I thought it was like mandatory that you had to go through the coaching process, which it would be uncomfortable. When you do that, when you do get the judges or those people giving you coach, is it in front of the other comics while you're on stage?
Yeah, it can be. It's usually at a dinner after the show. Hey, what'd you think? Joe Lowers, who runs it, is the worst at this. He's the worst. He's like, what'd you think? Oh, I wrote some stuff down. Hold on. I can't find my notes.
See, in my head, I had the Simon Cowell thing. You're not very good. Actually, you could see that act on any cruise ship. Like, oh, come on, man. I'm not signing up to get buried here. Like, constructive criticism on how you can make.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
It is a fine line because I can take criticism. I don't like that. This one pops in my head first every single time. I just finished headlining. I did a set, and this white woman says, a woman of whiteness says to me after the show, I don't think your life is indicative of the true Black experience. So that kind of criticism, I don't know what you think the true Black experience is. And now my wife, who is also a woman of whiteness, took issue with it and just read the woman the riot act. Like, you have no idea what my husband's been through. Blah, it's like, oh, whoa, So yeah, constructive criticism, and if they know what they're talking about, sure. But if it's just bullshit, I just don't like.
See, that feedback
about marriage.
That feedback is the main reason I want to try. I'd love to get into the World Series of Comedy, not just obviously for the opportunities, but for growth. I mean, it's hard to it's hard to find that real constructive criticism.
I'll tell you what I think, Steve. Since I met you 20 minutes ago, you suck.
No, I get it. Yeah, that's very good. I think part of one of the requirements when you're filling out, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, when you're applying for the World Series of Comedy, they said, "Do you steal most of your material from Dave Landau? And if so, why?"
If so, find someone better.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm sorry, Dave. I don't even know you. I'm just messing around.
I don't know Dave either. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Matt is the only one who knows who Dave Landau is, and I think
Dave Landau doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I think somebody in the chat room also knows David Landau, but I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's. I want to say Ian, but I'm not sure.
No, Ian hates Landau for some reason.
Well, I said know who he is. I don't know if he likes him or not, but
Landau has something in common with Mike. And that is, and I'm sorry to be. Listen, I'm not busting. I am busting your balls here, but
he has a big penis. What?
I've seen Landau come out and basically there was a average height woman introduce him, and he comes out and he has to lower the mic stand down a little, several feet. He's not a big guy. I noticed that was in a couple of your clips, Mike. You get it announcing that the mic stand is up here. And it's like an issue that
I'm a respectable height. I'm not a midget.
I'm not a midget.
Like I'm 5'7", 5'8".
Damn, he's got me beat. I'm 5'5" when I'm not sitting down.
Yeah.
But then someone has to stretch you out. Like your body must contort.
Yeah, but I see most of the time, mic stands are often. Mic stands are definitely in the 6'2" range or like that kind of stuff. People come out like, wait a minute, that just makes you. It makes you look shorter than you are. Anyway, so there's that whole awkwardness of mic stand coming when you're first introduced. You're at the level. You're at the mercy of whoever was on stage before you with kinds of mic stand stuff. I'm very particular about that. Like, I want the mic stand exactly how I know the mechanics of it work. What are you laughing at? You getting a text? Or what do you mean things about?
He does jerk off the mic stand if you don't take it away from him. Damn ADHD. You're a stand jerker. I know a few of those.
Yeah. Do you do any political humor at all? No, you stay away from it completely.
Yep. Especially in this climate, it's not. No.
I feel a lot of people who try to play it both ways, but their bias still comes through. They'll try to be a punch both sides type of thing, but you can always tell the bias of it. I think if you're gonna do political humor, you got to be really, really good. You got to be able to be funny about both sides, but truly funny and laugh out loud funny, or you're going to get people who are just.
But Matt, I think it depends on the audience, because I think if you're a conservative, you don't have to be funny. You just have to dig at the libs, and then people just go, "Oh yeah," But if you're progressive,
there's a lot of that on the right wing side of comedy. Is the Jim Brewer type people who are just not funny,
and then there's people if you're progressive and you're doing political comedy, you do have to be a little bit more funny.
Yeah.
So it depends on your audience and your style of comedy.
Right. Now, Mike, do you ever do Uncle Vinny's in Governors and in the local places that I would be able
to? I did Uncle Vinny's years ago, and I almost fell off his stage, and the rest of my set was shitty because I was so nervous about falling off the stage. So I don't think he likes me. A friend of mine says he probably doesn't even remember you.
Yeah, I would put that. Well,
it's funny. People remember the things they don't like longer than they remember the things they like.
Right.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Even if they don't remember why they don't like them.
What about any of the Gov places out here on Long Island? The Brokerage or Governors or McGuire's?
I've never performed there, man. yeah, like I wanted to. I've always wanted to. I've just never gotten a chance.
I'm surprised by that. I mean, it's not like traveling to Vegas.
Right? No, it's not.
Well, we do appreciate you being on the program this morning. Tell the other guys from Slaptail to come on too.
I will. Thank you. John's listening. He knows. Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been awesome.
All right. Well,
sir, man, I'll be in touch.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear from you.
You and Steven make a love connection. Bye for now.
Oh, I love you.
I got the weirdest boner now.
I want to get this straight. FunnymanMike.com. FunnymanMike.com. And it's Mike M-I-K-E, not like M-I-C, like open mic.
MICKEYMOUSE, Mickey Mouse. Oh boy. Sorry.
Funny Man Mickey. It's not Funny Man Mickey, it's FunnymanMike.com.
Mike.
All right. What do you guys do we have anything else to talk about, or we should just kill each other? Or kill ourselves?
Show business?
Huh? What do we? What? SlaptailNation.com. People should go to Slaptail Nation and find out about the Beaver Man, and what he's producing out there. So, Stephen, when is the show you're doing that John hooked you up with?
I've done John's open mic in the past.
Oh, his open mic. Now, so he's an Indiana guy?
No, he's in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo, Michigan. Mm-hmm. What is Kalamazoo famous for?
Slaptail comedy.
Showbiz is canceled for the rest of the year. No, we could have a showbiz report with I'll do the showbiz report. Rappers, diss tapes, titties and beer.
But tonight,
big movies coming out.
I'm going to a comedy show tonight, like to watch. I'm going to see Jeremiah Watkins.
Jeremiah Watson. Wasn't
he a friend of mine?
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Oh,
that makes sense. Yeah. And then before that,
was he a good friend of yours?
Huh?
Was he a good friend of yours?
No. And then before that, I'm going to go shoot some skits for a comedy show showcase at the end of the month. Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before I just mercilessly end this thing? Like put a dagger in its heart, kill it, just destroy it, blow it up, nuke it, end it all.
Let me see. What's it? That's Sunday was the 16th.
What was it? What?
Last Sunday was the 16th. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
No, I was just curious.
You're trying to do things. I know you're trying to do things.
Yeah, I am. I was just in showbiz. There was what's his name? Tony Roberts died.
Who?
Tony Roberts. Yeah.
The Monkey Man.
I don't know if he's the Monkey Man, but he was the guy that he was in Woody Allen movies. He was in 6 Woody Allen movies.
I don't think anybody in the real world called him Monkey Man, except the drummer who used to play with Europa used to call him Monkey Man for some reason, and that just stuck in my head. I don't know why he was Monkey Man. I think he had those big ears that those fake stuffed monkeys used to have, or something.
Oh, okay. And Bruce French died.
Who?
Bruce French.
Don't know.
He was a character actor. He was his last thing was he played Father Lonigan.
So
the blind priest on a daytime soap called Passion.
Do you agree with Annie Corson that character actor means you're ugly? That's what she's. That was what she said. And what she's talking about herself. She said, "I was always known as a character actress. Character actress means I'm ugly." I was like, "Wow, that's really." It's got to be for a woman to say that. It's worse than a man.
Well, it's funny because I don't know that character actors are necessarily unattractive. Because think about Betty Davis was a great actress. She was a leading lady.
Right.
But by most measurements, she was not traditionally considered an attractive woman.
I hate to, I hate to agree with you, but yeah, probably, yeah.
I'm just saying, and I'm just saying because that's what she said.
Right.
She said she was very fortunate.
Again, doesn't it hurt to hear a woman say those things about herself? Like, I'm not pretty. I know I'm ugly. To hear a woman say I'm thought of as ugly.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing to hear, for sure.
I could hear a guy say it all day long. I mean, I could hear Steven call himself ugly. I could hear him call me ugly. I could hear him call you ugly. But for a woman to say, I'm generally thought of as an ugly cat, that's why I'm a character act.
Well, in show business, it's more important for a woman for some in show business, which I'm not influential member of that set.
Yeah,
it is harder for a woman if she's unattractive than for a man. A man could be unattractive and he can get work. A woman is unattractive, then she is downgraded. She's limited.
Yeah, look at Adam Driver. He became the grandson of Darth Vader, and he's ugly as sin.
I did not even know this.
That he was ugly as sin, or that he was the son of Darth Vader?
Grandson.
Grandson.
Yeah, that part. The son of Darth Vader. I thought Luke.
No, Luke's the.
Well, Luke was the son. But Adam Driver portrayed the character who's the son of Princess Leia and Han Solo.
Yeah, Luke's his uncle.
Yeah, Luke's his uncle.
But Adam Driver, though, I went to school with him. I went to high school with him. The dude,
it's
not a good-looking guy.
But he's tall. He's like 6'11", right? He's very
something
tall.
Like that. Yeah,
and he was in the Navy or something. Very,
Ian is saying Henry Phillips' dad was a character actor. I did not know that. Another Jersey guy, Henry Phillips' dad. Henry Phillips was a Jersey guy, but not long. Now he's an LA guy. But Henry's a good-looking guy. I told him when I first met him that he could play Robert Redford in his biopic. Because he has a young Redford look. Like if we remade this Sting, I would use Henry Phillips as the. I mean, he's not so young anymore, but the younger version of.
That's what I thought Brad Pitt was. I thought Brad Pitt was a younger version of.
Well, look at
Robert
you.
Redford.
Well, you're trumping my young Robert Redford with your Brad Pitt trumps your Henry Phillips thing.
I don't know what he looks. I don't know what Henry Phillips looks like, so I can't. No, I don't.
Snappity, Henry Phillips.
How dare you come on my program and not know Henry Phillips? How dare you?
How dare you come on your program and know who he is?
I love Henry Phillips. He's my idol.
Well, I love Henry Gibson. The smell of summer is also sweet. This the sweet smell of flowers and hot, smelly feet.
All right, and Stephen, for all what we say here, Stephen doesn't know Henry Phillips from Henry Gibson. He can't tell him apart.
I don't know. I just want to know who Henny Philly is.
Henny Philly. That's what we call him in the hood. Henny Philly. Man, we call him Henny Philliac. He's a bleeder.
Oh!
He's just a bleeder. You punch him, he just bleed all over the place. He's a bleeder. Henny Philly. Philliac.
Give him a little snappity. He gives you a little
bleedity. Snappity, just bleedity. That's right.
Wow. This is very interesting conversation we're having here, and I wish I could stay for it, but I'm getting hungry.
Now can I tell you the question you didn't answer this? No.
You know, I think I made Dominic Massandrino. I don't know if I made him uncomfortable with that, but the why, don't you think the why, with the tariff thing, what Trump's actual motivation is, because he's got to know at this point, right? He's got to know that this is not a smart move, but he just can't. He painted himself into a corner. He can't back out of it.
I think that's it. I think that's exactly it. He's painted himself in a corner, and he won't back out of it because, first of all, I don't remember the last time he's actually paid the price for one of his own decisions, one of his own bad decisions. I can't remember the last time he actually paid a serious price. When he was like, even court costs, he collects money so that other people pay the court costs. I don't think he's afraid of negative consequences because he hasn't paid them yet.
See, again, I hate to agree with you, but I do agree with you on this stuff. But this, if we agree on that, does that mean these people who are just pushing this idea that Peter Thiel and Musk and all these people have a true agenda of destroying the administrative state, and they're doing this with intention, on purpose, and want to cause a Great Depression? That's all bullshit. That's just talk.
It's not that they want to cause a Great Depression, but they want to be able to take over the government with as little bloodshed as possible. Because if there's a lot of bloodshed, there will be a lot of revenge.
So, but the question really at the bottom of this, do you think they are intentionally trying to cause chaos with these tariffs?
Yes.
Just, do you think Trump is just unaware, like he's too stupid to know he's being played by them?
He is. He's too arrogant to. I don't want to say he's too stupid. I think he's too arrogant, because this is what happens with Trump. Okay, he gets an idea. It doesn't have to be a good idea or bad. It's just something that he gets, and he's like a dog with it. So you get someone who's smarter than him and says, "You want to do that? I know how you can do that. I know how we." And then of course their methods, because they have a different outcome, and they can achieve their outcome by helping him do the thing that he's desiring. Even though Trump doesn't understand the consequence. He just knows he wants to do it. You know, he doesn't. Yeah, I like tariffs. It's a beautiful word. It's the most beautiful word in the English language. Tariffs. Right after Ivanka says yes, then tariff. You know.
Yeah. But it baffles. It's just curious. First of all, I'm a pessimist, and I'm not expecting anything good to happen. But it baffles me when I think about like where he got this hard on for tariffs. Somebody suggested that he read a book on McKinley. I was like, no, he didn't read the book. He didn't.
No, he didn't read the book. Somebody gave him, because he's not that bright a man. He may have learned. He went to Wharton's business school. He may have learned the word tariff back then.
Yeah,
you know, and he just liked the way it sounded or something, because it ended with F or something. Who knows? But it just rhymed with something he liked. You know, so that's it. But because he's so fond of that, he just latched onto it.
Yeah,
you know, it's like when I remember when I was in economics, and I was taking economics, the kids that really didn't understand how economics work, they clamored onto supply and demand. You know, that was their for everything. Supply and demand. And no matter what you said to them, it's like supply and demand. Even if supply and demand wasn't the answer, that was the part of the economy they did under. That was the part of economics they understood. And I think that's what tariff is for Trump. It's not complicated. You just add prices on something. You're adding a tariff. That's it. You know? Yeah. So it's not complicated. The consequences are complicated, which is why he doesn't follow through.
Yeah.
So, but somebody who's smarter than Trump, who has an actual agenda and an actual scheme, says, "This is how you can be my useful idiot." Although they don't call him that to his face.
See, this is what you're getting at here, and I don't know if this is what your intent in getting at this, but the idea that because this neighborhood, this geographic area where I live in, is strongly red, even though New York State is blue. And I was assuming Dominic was going to be a Republican, and for a Republican to actually come out and say that it's common sense, it's just history, that wide-scale tariffs are not a good solution and will lead to trade wars. We're not seeing anybody who is a true Republican come out and say that out loud. And I don't think there's anybody. I think the party has to realize that he's heading us into economic.
They do know. That's why they're asking for carve-outs. That's exactly why they're asking for carve-outs. And it's not just one. It's like many, many, many of them. You know, and each one has their own little carve-out. And the thing is, if he applied all of the carve-outs to the entire country, there would be no tariff. It's affecting every fucking thing. And each one of them is saying, okay, this affects this in my district. This affects this in my state. So they want the individual carve-outs for the individual areas. But it doesn't But if he applied carve-outs across the country, then there'd be no tariff, because it's going to hurt everybody.
So here's what just happened for people on the radio who can't see. Steven turned off his camera because he was going to get up and do a little dance. Oh, he's back. He just whenever GD starts talking about tariffs, Stephen is compelled to dance, and he got
my start menu opened up, and I went to close it, and I hit the camera button.
Right.
That, or you start talking about tariffs, and Stephen has to close off the camera, or we see the money shot.
He's going to dance again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
cut off the camera, or we'll see the money shot.
Yeah. All right. Tomorrow we have a former business consultant who has turned herself into a adult video star. And what else do we have? We have somebody else booked. Oh, a DJ called something chill, panic, chill panic, panic, chill panic.
Don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about chill and panic, but I think that's like a oxymoron, right? You can't chill and panic at the same time. You can panic or you can chill. You can't chill panic.
Unless you're a duck. You chill on the outside, but you're panicking underneath.
Fine. That's what we're doing tomorrow. Are you guys going to do your homework today on Pepper Cat and watch all her films and study her technique?
No, I have a lot of other things I have to do.
So you're not going to study her technique? How do we know what to ask her about? Like how do you take an 18-inch?
I'm going to do a cold reading, like any good psychic would do. I'm going to do a cold reading.
All right. I'm just going to sit here.
Okay. So, Stephen, this is the question I wanted to ask you on your show, but I didn't get around to it because you cut off early. You just like, oh, it's 9:45. I got to go. No,
he had to run. He had to run.
Yeah. Well, I thought you said go. I thought I said go. Did I say go?
Yeah, but no, I just he had to run. You did say go, but
okay.
He had to run.
So my question, Stephen, is because there's a school of thought in the alien world that the angels that people saw back in biblical days, like Ezekiel and stuff like that, were actually UFOs and aliens from other planets. I was wondering what your thoughts of those things were.
Praying mantis. They were just saying
praying mantis. It's hard to tell.
Don't now. Wait till Monday. No, I'm just teasing.
No, it's really up to interpretation, man. I mean, there's
your thoughts. Your thoughts, not your interpretation. What do you think about it?
I
don't.
Part of me thinks that they had to have experienced something to come up with the stories that they did, right? And then that's the best interpretation they can come up with. Was it aliens? I don't think so. No. But I mean, there's a lot of history on this planet we've yet to discover. So who knows what it could have been they've experienced. So.
Because I'm just saying, some people think that the angels.
Oh, I've heard all the theories. Yeah, like the Nephilim are aliens from a different planet, and the alien or the angels that they saw, like the big spinny one with all the eyes, was really a spaceship, and the flaming chariot was a spacecraft. I've heard all that, and I've seen all that, but it's I guess it's compelling, but it's not. There's nothing there to suggest that it's true.
I should get one of those.
Did you ever read the book "The Chariots of the Gods"?
This discussion.
Yes,
we're Ancient Aliens now on the History Channel, and I that weird guy that looks like I don't know. He looks like John C. Reilly and Steve Lucas. They're all rolled into one with a wild wig and glasses. That's why I'm going to be moderating the Ancient Alien discussion. I think they're all 6-foot praying mantises. That's what I think. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the show for you for today. Tomorrow we have DJs and sex stars and Stephen's going to get.
Tomorrow we have DJs and BJs.
DJs and BJs. Yeah, that's what I should have named it. Damn it. Where were you when I was?
You didn't invite me to the meeting. I hate this when you and Ron have these meetings where the two of you go off and have all these secret. You, Ron, and Willie get together and have these meetings about what you're going to do about shows, and I don't get invited to the day of the show. I'm like, fuck.
Right. So Stephen is going to. The guests are picking up for the Beyond Classified, which is Monday night. We also have on this network a little church program that happens on Sunday mornings. It's rough getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning, but if you happen to be up at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, you can tune in to.
Or if you're up at 6 a.m. in the West Coast, you can join us. Or if you're up at noon on the middle of the ocean, you can join us.
If you're in Australia, it's just the right time. It's the perfect.
Yeah.
Time.
It's around 9 p.m. or something.
Right. All right. Let's tell people to turn on their radio and get out of here.
But Stephen, say the phrase that doesn't pay.
Yeah.
Don't forget to turn on your radio.
You're watching WDOG Mind Dog TV.
listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen